This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Mike Irwin from Pig Trail Nation, who joins us every Monday here on Halftime. Mike, how was your weekend, and how are you on this wet and icy Monday?
Well, I'm just contemplating looking out at my driveway, the hill down to the bottom street, and thinking, okay, I'm going to have to back into this thing and then just no accelerator, just let the momentum of the vehicle carry me down to the bottom, because there's no touching a brake once you start down that hill. You hit a brake and you're going to start to slide. So I just got to be smart.
Mike, how heavily pitched is your street?
It's not. It's pretty bad. I mean, I've done this before, but you got to be really careful. I've got a low gear in this SUV my wife has. It's an automatic, but it's got an extra lower gear. And you just sort of back out and then just point it. And then you just let the momentum let you down the hill. You know, there's no accelerator. You just roll down and then hope at the bottom you don't have to hit your brakes, that it'll just slow down on its own.
Yeah, I don't think Mike wants to be one of the people on those videos that you'll see for the next couple of days, the ones that are crashing into every garbage can and tree and vehicle on the side of the street. Yeah, would chains on your tires help on a hill like that, or does that not help?
Oh yeah, but of course I don't do that. You know, I'm not smart enough to do that. I just have to hope. I sit around and hope this doesn't happen, and then it does. But, you know, if I can get out to Old Wire Road, then I'm all right. But it's just the local street I live on that's the issue.
Well, we'll wish you luck right now, and we'll wish you luck later on. Arkansas loses to Baylor Saturday. What do you think watching that game?
Well, obviously, the free throw, I thought they played really well, played well enough to win. If you throw in the fact that Black is injured and out there fighting as hard as he can, I thought they continue to improve. You can see the improved defense. They're starting to hit threes. They're playing smarter with the ball. I do think a lot of the fouls were justified. What I didn't like was the imbalance, because I thought Baylor was playing just as hard on the other end, and it was pretty much evenly called in the first half. The second half, it was a real imbalance. You know, guys, I had an interesting experience on Saturday, because one of my grandsons plays in an AAO fifth graders league. And I went out and watched these guys play Saturday morning. And I watched these volunteer refs, and they were perfect. I never saw a single call that I questioned. I was amazed at how good they were. And then I'm watching this game on TV, and I'm going, what is this? And it hit me. I was thinking about it all day long, and at night it finally hit me. In that AAO game, there was no pressure. Nobody was mad at the refs. None of the fans, the parents were yelling at them. The coaches weren't yelling at them. The players weren't yelling. You get into a college game and everybody's mad. The fans are mad. The coaches are mad. The players are mad. And I just think refs get influenced by that. It gets your juice going, and you're not calmly making calls anymore. You're all jacked up.
Yeah, fair enough. I really like Ricky Council's game, Mike. I was glad to see him come back. And man, that mid-range shot he has, and I know this is going a little too far, but I had a coach that would tell players, if you shoot a shot outside the paint, you're going to come over and sit by me. And anytime they did that, coach would take him out and they'd come sit by him. If Ricky Council shoots a three-pointer with less than 5 seconds to go on the shot clock, I'd take him out. I'd be like, bro, you got to quit shooting those three-pointers from 2 feet behind the three-point line and get to your mid-range shot, because it's automatic when he gets there.
Yeah, he's so good at that. He really was the difference in that game. I mean, if you looked at what he did to break down Baylor's defense, because it was a good defense, and he was breaking them down in the half court, making those acrobatic shots that we've seen him make. And then I was impressed with Mikhail Mitchell, coming back after 1 week after having that boot on. And they needed him because of all the foul trouble that was out there. So these guys are fighting hard. I know they're probably frustrated, but by the same token, they are getting better. And I'm pretty hopeful that they're going to close out strong.
I like what I saw from the most part from Jalen Graham, and it wasn't the scoring. It wasn't the scoring, which stands out, because that's all everybody has seen from him. We haven't seen much defense. We didn't see much rebounding, but I saw a guy who was really active on both of those accounts on Saturday. His scoring was down, and he doesn't look like he can hit a free throw very well. But I think his scoring would get back to where it usually is, sooner or later, because he really is a very talented offensive player. Get him the ball 15 feet from the rim and see what he can do. He's got various ways to score. But it was the rebounding and his defense that stood out to me, and I'd really like to see him continue to get about 20 to 25 minutes.
Well, I mean, he just looks like a guy that needs to play. He just hasn't played enough for whatever reason. And there's only one solution to that. You got to let him continue to play. I think you'll see him get better and better as he adjusts to the new team he's on, the new conference he's in, because he does have some skills. He just was inconsistent when he'd come in. And, look, that's difficult. It's difficult when you just sit there and then somebody brings you in, you're supposed to produce. You sort of have to be a part of the process for a while.
Yeah, he's getting better. That's very true. The one thing, Mike, that I've noticed is, I think the last time I fouled out of a basketball game, I was 12 years old. Jordan Walsh has to understand, man, like, you don't do us any good when you're fouling. You kind of got to grow up and quit being a freshman, because fouling out 4 times already this year, you kind of got to quit blaming other people, and you got to figure it out. When he's not out there, the team really struggles.
He grabs a lot. It's not real obvious, but if you go back and look at the replay on some of these fouls, you can see where he's just used his hand to reach around.
Yeah, when he doesn't have to,
bit.
right? Like, it's like you don't even have to right then.
Sure. I think it's just a process. Probably in high school, he never had to do that. And all of a sudden, he's dealing with these guys, and he's going, oh, crap. So, this team is not all that young, but it's when you bring in all these people that haven't played in the SEC before, haven't played with this group before, it's just a process. And then let's just be honest, a lot of these guys didn't play much in the beginning. And so now they're playing more, and you just keep thinking to yourself, this is going to kind of gel into a much better team here fairly quickly. I've already seen it start to happen. And if you look at these last 3 seasons when this turnaround occurred, which was usually somewhere around mid to late January into February, it was always triggered by better defense. That's how it started. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm seeing right now, is that they're playing better defense. I'm not saying it's perfect. They still make mistakes. But the defense has improved.
Look, what I'm worried about right now is that it feels to me like they're one player short. One guy away from being able to overcome good basketball teams like Missouri, like Baylor. Ole Miss and LSU are not good basketball teams. They're playing so much better right now than in the 3-game stretch against Auburn, Alabama, and Vanderbilt. It's not effort right now. Fouls are part of it, but it really feels like they're a player away. And bring them up. Fran Fraschilla said he didn't expect Nick Smith is going to return. I think that's more a feeling from him than having any idea whether or not he's going to come back. I tell you what, it feels like they're a guy like Nick Smith away. I know that's like saying he's a potential first overall pick and everything, but he could make a world of difference and get him back. I think this team, the way they're playing right now, theoretically could start getting on a run, but I feel like it might only be with him.
I don't think there's any way that his dad would go on radio several days ago and say he was coming back if he wasn't. I've had people tell me, they're just stalling. Well, what do you mean stalling? It's going to become obvious if he doesn't play that he didn't play, and they live in this state. I can't believe you would tell people he's coming back if he's not. So I believe he is. I believe they're being super cautious, trying to make sure this time that the injury doesn't, and I think it's tendonitis, but no one's ever said, but trying to make sure it doesn't return this time. And Musk said it a while back. It's going to be in February, where we're closing in on February, so we'll see. But I agree with you. I think they need him. I think he can help a lot. He may go through a few games of adjusting once again because he's been out, but when they need him down the stretch, if he's able to play, effectively mid-February on, that could make a huge difference in this team.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. I mean, you got to know if you're hurt or you're injured. What makes you think? You're talking about draft status. It's like, how do I want you on my team when you can't play a college season against 18-year-old boys? Then you want to come play an 82-year-old season against 28-year-old men? It's like, bro, you got to figure it out. You're either gonna play or you're not. It's kind of just, it's really exhausting. It's kind of just, you're kind of over it.
Well, I'm trying to put this in my head. He's with the team now. He's there. He watches these guys.
And if you're fine, or how are you fine in 2 weeks and you're not fine now? Like, it's not making any sense. I'm over it.
And how does he watch Anthony Black go out there and play hurt? Black is supposedly a first-round guy,
Black's the best player on the floor most nights.
By the way,
Black's OG.
We heard Muss talking about Anthony Black playing hurt and a couple of other guys.
That dude can go, man.
They don't feel their best. But you can read between the lines of what Muss is saying. I don't know if he means it to come across.
He means
well, yeah, that's what it felt like to me when I'm listening to
too, right? Like, you're just
we got a couple guys that are out there hurt, and we got another guy that might be able to play, and he don't want to play right now.
Yeah, I think he was sending a message. Look at Anthony Black, especially Black, because he may not be a lottery pick, but he's a first-round guy, and he's out there still playing and not worried about what this does to him. So, and I watched Mahomes last night. Any player, why are you playing? I don't care if you're a pro or whatever. You're playing because you love the game. You may be making money, but you make money when it's over.
You're a competitor. That's right. And Mike, I think we talked about this last time with Anthony Black. I think if Anthony Black stayed here for 3 years, he would be a lottery pick. Like, I think there's no. But we're talking about a freshman going in. He's a first rounder. But he's one of those guys that, Tim Duncan played for 3 years in college basketball. I mean, he's one of those guys that would be better if he stayed around for a couple years.
That's right. And again, it's hard for me to think about this because all I can relate to is how I felt when I was not athletic, but I would die. I mean, I just wanted to play so bad. And when it was all over and I realized I was faced with the fact that I would never play competitive athletics again like that, it was a real letdown. I walked around for 2 or 3 months just lost. And we all, anybody that's ever done this at any level in any sport knows that feeling. It's just the desire to go out there with a bunch of guys and compete and be a part of a process. Even if you don't win, there's lessons that you gain from that the rest of your life. The way I've done my television career has totally been based on everything I learned in being a part of a football team. Go to work even when you're sick. Don't use it. Don't make excuses.
Right, show up.
Yeah, just do
don't
it.
Push people when they're out of bounds, right?
Oh, man, I felt so bad for him. I was like, that's
like
awful.
Like that Snickers commercial, want to get away? He's like, oh, man.
Gosh.
BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting this season. Everything from the NFL and bowl season to esports. You'll find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and live scores for almost any sport or game imaginable. We're the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite leagues and events. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code BELIEVE to receive your rewards. That's BLEAV. BetOnline, where the game starts.